Hello guys, and welcome to episode number 47, where we will be solving 5 more SQL problems. And today is a special episode as we are finally starting to go into the medium difficulty. So from now on, there will be only medium difficulty. We're going to have the last 2 easy ones, and then we're going to start with the medium ones. So let's get started with problem number 1 right here. This one is from Ring Central. We have to return a list of users with status free. This is a filter who didn't make any calls, April 2023. So we have actually 3 different filters. This one we can split it into 2 filters, and we have between 3 and 4. So let's get started right here. What do we have? We actually have 2 tables. All right. So let's see. List of users with status free. So looking at these, to me, I can assume that this is a list of users, right? All of the users here, and here must be a list of the calls. So in this one, in RC calls, not every user, probably not all of them did a call. So here it says users with status free. This one right here, status. So that this is for all users, but who didn't make calls in a specific period. So we have to first, let's write this one, status free. We're going to say where status equals free, and we're going to choose it from RC users right here. And we want to a list of users. List of users sounds like a distinct list of users. So from the users table, we want all the different users with status free. Let's just do it like this for now, right? These are all the different ones. And now we have to add the date part, who didn't make any calls in April 2020. Now the way let's just write it down here, that particular part. Let's select all the users from RC calls where the date would be April 2020. Now let's check out how the date looks like. It looks like this. When it looks like this, I prefer to just use one single filter instead of 2. So I'll use the left function on the date, and then I'll put 7 characters, simply checking if the leftmost 7 characters, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they are year and the dash and like this. So in here, we're selecting all of the users that made calls in this period. And now the problem says we have to choose the people who didn't make calls. Basically everyone else that it is not in this table. So that's why we can convert this statement right here into a subquery. We're gonna say here, and the user ID from here, from the users table, it is not in our subquery right here. Now I will arrange it a little bit better so you guys can see. Let me put it something like this maybe. Right here we are selecting the users who actually made calls in this specific period. And then we are checking for the users to not be part of this group right here, because that's what we actually want, who didn't make any calls in this specific period. And this should be the final solution right here. There are 2 people. Problem number 2, and the last problem with the easy tag right here for now. Maybe they'll add in the future, they always add. So let's check it out. How many paid users filter, any calls in April 2020? Calls in a particular period, paid users. I think this is very, very similar to the previous one. We have 2 tables again, paid users. So actually, we're just going to use very similar. We're going to select paid users. How many? So we have to do a count of distinct user ID. We're going to call it paid users from RC calls where status equals paid and had any calls. So here we are using exactly the same. Actually, we're going to literally copy this, because here, this is exactly what we need. We need a previous subquery, just that this time we're going to be checking if the user is in this list, because in here are all the users who made calls in this particular period, and we want them to be paid and to be part of this list. So this should be the final solution. And my bad, I wrote RC users. We need to use the users table, not the calls table. And there we go. There are 5 paid users. So quick recap here. Let me arrange this in a way something like this maybe. Right, so quick recap. We want to show all the different users where status is paid and user ID is part of this table right here. And in here, we are selecting the users who actually did calls in this particular date right here. Problem number 3 and our first medium difficulty problem. Let's check it out. Excited. We have to write a query that identifies cities with higher than average home prices. Higher than average home prices when compared to the national average. And we have to output the city names. So here we have probably, as we can see down here, a list of cities. Actually, we have to scroll a little bit down. So we have a list of cities. We have to do for every city. We want to calculate the average home price based on the market price right here. And then we have to compare this average home price with the national average. So basically with the average of the entire table. And if the average price is higher than the national average, then we want to actually output those cities. So we have to filter them that way. We're going to start selecting doing our group by part. Distinct city from our table here, Zillow transactions. We're going to group by city. So here we're saying for every city, and now we have to do the filter part. And because we are aggregating, we have to do the filtering on the aggregation. We're going to say having only the cities who have the average market price to be higher. And in here we have to write some code to find the average of the entire table. So here we're simply going to use a subquery of average market price from our table right here. So this would be the final result. And we have 3 cities. So quick recap here. For every city, actually we don't have to even add distinct. That doesn't make sense because the group by is going to make it distinct. So for every city here, for every city, we want to check if their average market price is higher than this one here. This represents a subquery where it calculates the average market price of the entire table. And that one would represent here the national average. And whenever this is true here, it will only show the cities with the average market price higher than the average national price. Problem number 4. This one is from Whole Foods Market. Summarize the number. We have number of customers and we also have number of transactions here. So number of customers and number of transactions each month in this year right here. We have to filter out transactions that were less than $5. So this one with filter out transactions, because the table is called transactions, one row equals one transaction, right? So we have to filter out the rows that are less than $5, less than 5. So let's write here the easy part, the number of customers. Let's write that part. Count the distinct customer ID. Let's call it number of customers. Then we want to count the number of transactions, distinct transaction ID. And let's call it number of transactions. For each month, we're going to put the month here. We're going to say the month of our date time field, the transaction date. And we're going to name this the month, right? Just month. And now to finish our group by, we have to group by. So here we're saying for every month, give me the count of the ID numbers and the transaction. So if we run this, we will get close to the final result, just that we are not filtering for the 5 for transactions with less than 5. So this solution is not actually correct. Now we have to filter here the transaction sales amount, this one right here. So we want to exclude the rows where the sales ID, it is less than 5. So basically right here, the original table, we're going to create a new altered version. So we're going to create a table called CTE. We're simply going to select just what we need. We need a month here. Actually, no, we're going to select everything from our transactions and we're going to add our filter right here, where the sales are more than 5, because that's what we want to keep. We want to exclude, filter out transactions that are less than 5. So we want to keep more or equal with 5 actually. So in this one right here, we keep everything from the original table, just that we only want to show the ones that are 5 or more. And now here, instead of using the WFM transactions, we're going to use our pre-filtered table, this one, which already is filtered this way. And this should be the final solution. Oh, my bad, guys. I forgot to check for the specific 2017 year. We can simply put it here, where year of the transaction date equals to 2017. So guys, quick recap here. For every month of this particular year, of the year 2017, for every month, we want to show the different number of customers and the different number of transactions. And we are selecting here from the CTE table. The CTE table is this one up here. And this one up here is already filtered to show transactions only where the sales are higher or equal than 5. This way we are filtering out the transactions who have a value less than $5. And problem number 5, guys, the last one for today. This one is from Uber and Tesla. We have to find the sum of numbers whose index less than 5 and sum of numbers index greater than 5. And we have to output each result on a separate row. Now this would be the more tricky part. We have to output on a separate row instead of a separate column. The exercise is very simple. So let's just say select the sum of numbers. So we have to do sum of number where index less than 5. So in this case, probably one of those cases where we have to mention the table, because this word is probably interpreted different by the compiler. And yep, there you go. We have to mention the table manually here because they are using this word. Never name your columns like this. Index. Terrible. So where the index is less than 5, the sum of number is 16. And now basically we have to check for more than 5 and the number is 16 again. Is this even correct? I'll just check the solution. Yeah. Wow. Why would they choose a data set so confusing like this? So basically we have to show 16 and 16. So all we have to do is we're going to do this and then we're going to paste it again down here. So here's sum of number when index is less than 5. Here we have sum of number when index is more than 5. And all we have to do is we have to union all. And the reason we're doing all here is to show the duplicates, because in this case there could be duplicates and we actually have. If we are going right here for just union, we're only going to see 116, which would be the incorrect solution. But if we do union all, we are going to keep the duplicates. And this should be the final answer right here, 16, 16. Terrible data set, terrible naming here with index, but the problem itself is quite interesting. So quick recap, we're doing the sum of the number column with this filter down here. And down here, we're doing basically the same thing, the sum, just that the filter is different, is more than 5. Here's less and here's more. And then in the middle, we are using the union function to simply add this table down here to this one at the end of it. So that was it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed these kinds of problems, I highly encourage you to join the StrataScratch community. Consider using the affiliate link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.